Welcome to our first roundup of daily election data from the MIT Election Data and Science Lab. This video covers our daily updates for the week of September 12th. We kicked things off with Michigan, looking at the weekly net changes in their voter registration totals since late July. We see that while registrations were closed for the August 6th state primary, there was a small decrease in the number of registered voters. Afterwards, there's an increase of about 25,000 new voters before things settle down to a net increase of about 5,000 voters every week since August 16th. Next, we stuck with voter registration totals and flipped over to Pennsylvania. Looking again at weekly net changes, we split voters by their registration as Republican, Democrat, or other. Here's an important thing to keep in mind looking at this plot. We're looking at the week-by-week difference in the total number of voters registered in each of those categories, not just new voter registrations. In Pennsylvania for this period, we can see there's consistently been a larger net increase in Republicans than in Democrats or other voters, with Republicans typically netting about 1,000 to 2,000 more voters than Democrats in recent weeks. In general, Republicans have ranged from adding about 3,000 to 7,000 net registrants every month, while Democrats have ranged from losing 2,000 net voters in the second last week of July to gaining about 5,000 in the last week of July. The number of other voters has increased by about 4,000 every week with comparatively little variation. North Carolina was next on our list. We charted the number of newly registered voters in the Tar Heel state, again splitting them by their registration as Republican, Democrat, or other. Looking week by week, we see that the number of newly registered Democrats and Republicans has tracked very closely, with both parties averaging about 2,000 new registrants a week in early July, climbing to between 4,000 and 5,000 a week now. Through July, Republicans tended to slightly outpace Democrats, but in August the pattern reversed. The number of new registrants who are Democrats and Republicans, however, is much smaller than, and sometimes as low as half of, the number who register as neither Democrat nor Republican. Moving south to Florida, we compared the total number of registered voters of each party between each month in 2020 and 2024. We've split voters into the same party categories and see that the number of Democrats has dramatically decreased in Florida since 2020, while the number of registered Republicans has grown. In January 2024, there were nearly 700,000 fewer Democrats in Florida than there had been in January 2020, and the gap gradually widened throughout the year, with about 844,000 fewer Democrats in August 2024 than there were in August of 2020. In contrast, the number of Republicans registering has consistently been about 350 to 400,000 additional voters in each month of 2024 than in the corresponding month in 2020. About 200,000 more Floridians are registered with a minor party than they were 4 years ago, while there has been very little change in the number of voters registered with no party affiliation. Rounding out the week, we popped back up to North Carolina to chart the number of absentee ballots requested each week since the start of 2024. The requests are split into 4 groups: requests by registered Democrats, by registered Republicans, by unaffiliated registrants, and by all registered with any other party. Unaffiliated voters and Democrats have requested ballots at very similar rates throughout the year, with both groups requesting about 10,000 in the first week of September. Republicans have requested fewer absentee ballots, with just about 6,000 Republican requests in that same week. For more updates, find us on the social media platform of your choice, where we'll be posting daily data updates from 9 key states from now until the election. Or follow us here and stay tuned for next week's Roundup.